Hello and welcome to the Glassgirls Network. Kieran, I've had to get you on today. I thought all the content was going to be over for this week, but then there's some breaking news today that we have to kind of get into. This is going to be more of a match reaction show, as we've been doing throughout the season. We haven't done it on every game, but there is some breaking news today, which we just have to get into. But first of all, Kieran, how are you recovering after yesterday? It was such a mammoth and happy event for what we saw, but then as Stella fans, cushion down when we fall to defeat, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously not the result any Stour fan would have wanted. Obviously, progressing in the FA Cup is a massive thing for the club, financially and for the girls as well. Getting a few wins on the ball. But yeah, it wasn't to be. Fair play to Kiddy Harriers. They came with a game plan and they executed it perfectly. They did really, really well. So hats off to all involved there. But yeah, for us, it wasn't good enough for us. We sort of didn't play the way that I believe that we should have against Kiddy. Whether that's right or wrong, I guess is up for debate. But for me, it wasn't what I expected from us. It wasn't what I've seen in previous matches. Yeah, it all sort of just was a bit weird. But potentially, the occasion, the build up, everything was a bit too much for some of us potentially. And Kiddy, obviously the story with Andy Fisher, clearly wanted it and clearly wanted to cause an upset, and yeah, they did.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the vibe I got across social media with all the retweets that was going on ahead of this game, I think 90% of the footballing population wanted the underdogs to win, wanted Andy Fisher to win, because that was kind of what the story was about. I think
Yeah,
inside the stadium, obviously there was a lot of Kiddie fans, but there were also a lot of Stella fans. When Stella got that equaliser, there was a big roar. So I think inside the stadium it might not have been so one-sided, but certainly going into the game, I think everyone loves an underdog, don't they?
yeah,
And that's kind of what happened. And yeah, it was a great occasion. Whether or not he got on top of quite a few people, players, maybe. There's a lot of youngsters out there, so that's something we can look at. I think we also have to give credit to our opposition. I think Kiddy had a game plan and they executed it really well. I think there was a lot of back and throw before the game, trying to second guess each other. I think Stourbridge will do this. I think Kiddy will do this. So I think that kind of had a bearing. So and yeah, the vocality on the sidelines from the Kiddy Harriers dugout was really getting the players in the right positions. It was all about being organised and disciplined from the kiddie side, and I think that obviously helped throughout the game. We will get into the game a little bit more. I want to discuss the start 11. That was a big talking point in the stands. I think, as football fans, we always try and debate a start 11, don't we? And it's easy in hindsight to look back, but it was definitely a massive talking point. And I guess the starting 11 may have had some sort of bearing on the breaking news today. Which is going to be probably yesterday by the time this recording goes out. Leonie Joyce, Kieran, announced that she's left the club. I think she made the club aware on Wednesday night, and uh, and that's it really. I think it's been a long time coming. I'll get into my thoughts shortly. Kieran, our leading goal scorer, I think she scored
yeah.
three in the league, and obviously yesterday as well. There may have been more, but I can definitely remember three in the league. I don't think she scored in any cups apart from last night, but she's still our leading goal scorer, I think, with four, maybe, roughly. What are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, obviously, it's a massive loss, isn't it? Yeah, we've seen the qualities that Leo gives us up front, and when we're in a position where we're struggling to score, it's not ideal to see our top scorer, one of our star attackers, depart the club. But if that's the way that things have turned out for Leo, then it is what it is. Obviously, I hope she obviously goes on to do well wherever she ends up. Obviously, there's a few rumours of where she's gonna rock up next. But yeah, she's a really nice girl as well. So yeah, very 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 disappointed to see her go. But I'm sure she'll smash in whatever's next.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you're right. I think there is a deal done somewhere. I think it's been a long time coming. I think this rumour has been going around for 5 or 6 weeks. And I think the Kelsey game, I felt like, oh, that's it. She'll start the season here. But I think we've also got to think it's not just about ability. It's not just about um, I don't know, the culture at the club or attitude or anything like that. I think it's also about, as a striker in Tier 3, when you're at the bottom of the league, we saw it last year with Jay Grove, Ellie Butler, Neve Deasy, Mil Rogers. As a striker, especially this season as well, it's very hard to get the ball and have a shot. So I think as a
Mm.
striker, you want to be able to have shots, don't you? You want to be able to score. And unfortunately, when you're bottom in one of the bottom teams in the league, it's the same as when Deasy went to Albion. I said, she's going to have the same kind of trouble there, because last season it was Albion that was like towards the bottom of the league, and strikers need to score. They need to at least have shots. They need to have chances, don't they? And I think it's very hard at this level to get chances. So I do feel for the strikers in that sense. And wherever she ends up, I'm sure she'll be able to create more shots and more chances. It's not like a defender or a goalkeeper where you thrive on tackles, you thrive on saves. This channel we talk a lot about two particular players, and that's because they're under the most pressure, not under the most pressure, but they're in the spotlight more, aren't they? And
Yeah.
I think it's very hard for a striker to flourish, I guess. Do you kind of agree with that, mate?
Yeah, 100%. I think, like you say, it's always going to be tough when you're a striker in these sort of teams where you're not getting a million chances a game like you would at a Wolves or a Forest or someone like that. And she's a young player as well. It's going to be like almost a confidence thing potentially. Like if you've obviously done well in Tier 4 and then you've got up to Tier 3 and then for some reason it's not clicking, potentially because of the players around you. Is that going to damage your confidence and make you want to jump ship? Potentially it would. I feel like that's a suitable reason. So yeah, hopefully she can find that somewhere, but obviously get loads more chances. We saw what she did, at Calcer last season, and a few other places like Leafield that she's been. She's got the ability. Well, there's no doubt about that, and we've seen it in glimpses this season where she's. I remember Halifax. She was on top form there. Obviously, within the first minute, I think got a goal where Jamie Lee Bamford messed up slightly, and then got the second as well to almost seal the win for us. So yeah, obviously she's got the quality to play in this Tier 3, but does she need potentially some of those players around her to be even better than potentially what we've got currently? That might be the case for a player like her.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that'll come. I mean, if you wipe out the kiddie game, I thought the midfield has got better over the season. I don't think we particularly saw the best of them yesterday. However, we'll get into that one shortly as well throughout the game. But just one quick one here. I think I did a fantastic job about this time last year at Boldmere, steadying the ship. There was a lot of stuff going on at Boldmere. You can research what it's already the past now. But I think he went in there and he done a real good job of steadying the ship. Do you feel that he needs to kind of steady this ship a little bit now as well? Do you think there's a lot of talk around, because this game was so hyped? There's a lot of eyes on Kiddy, but now there's like a lot of eyes on Stourbridge as well. Now, do you think he needs to kind of just calm things down? And he's got a lot of time to do that. There's only one more game now from now till January the 5th, and that's the County Cup game. Do you just think that he just needs to settle things down now?
Yeah, I guess he almost needs to re-steady the ship after the summer. Obviously, everything that happened over the summer at Stourbridge happened, and then what he's come out and said in interviews, and the way that we played him in pre-season. I guess it's sort of calmed everything down really from what I saw. And yeah, I think he's very good at that. I think he's good at being a positive influence on the changing room, and yeah, I think that's definitely what you need after a result like that, and a string of results like we have got. We need someone that's gonna motivate us to get back, and because we've seen it multiple times this season. This squad has the ability to compete with those in the league. It's just about dusting yourself off and getting back to it, and not letting it sort of go to your head, or thinking oh, we've lost to Kiddy Harriers here. There's no way we can beat, your Derbies, Baggies, and people like that. Yeah, it's all about how you climb back, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, let's go on to start 11 then, because it was a great talking point, wasn't it? And I think
Yeah.
it almost went up to the like the final kind of hour for both teams. Just so people are aware, just so people kind of know where we're at. So obviously Kieran runs, well not runs, but is a big part of the social media team, and you have been for a long time at Stourbridge. In the past few months, when Andy Fisher took over Kiddy Harriers, I was brought into the Kiddy Harriers media team, obviously because of my relationship with Andy Fisher in the past at Stourbridge. So we was kind of like sharing notes, was up with team sheets, and like we had our photo taken at pitch side when we exchanged those team sheets. Obviously, the managers and the players already knew at this point this was just me and Kieran. But like that's kind of like where we was. So if anyone's wondering where I come into all this, obviously I've been a Stourbridge fan for 3.5 years, but obviously I am an official part of the Kiddy Harriers media team. So that's why I am. That's why I've been the way I've been in the last few weeks in the build up to this game. But let's talk a little bit about the starting 11. I'll read it out, Kieran, and then obviously you kind of just give your thoughts on it. And I also want to get into the strikers as well, the ones that we've got left with now, obviously Leo leaving. So let's go through the starting 11 first. Obviously, Ashton in goal. Harriet was in the stands with the parents. Lovely to speak to her. If ever you get a chance to speak to Harriet, mate, just chat to her. I mean, you can chat to her parents all day long. It's fantastic, and people who know me and know you, Kieran, we don't stop talking, do we, about women's football?
Absolutely not.
And we love people around the place who also feel that passion. And as a parent, you know, you've been involved in women's football. Really. You can't, because they've been in women's football ever since the daughter's been growing up. So you've got about 5, 10, 15 years of experience chatting to some of these parents. But speak to Harriet, and she's a breath of fresh air, and her standards are up here. When she's come from Sheffield United Academy, and the stuff that she's used to makes her, in my opinion, very strong person, very strong willed. So yeah, just if anyone's ever in the stage, just say hello to them and talk to them, because they're great conversations, really are. So Ashton was in goal. This was her chance. And then you had Erin Griffiths, Tilly Phantom, Rosie Embley, Meg Hadley, Debbie Walker, Thea Clerkin, Gwen Horgan, Rosie Axton, Lizzie Bennett-Steele, and Daisy Clemens. I've kind of got a formation in my head about like how they was all kind of playing. I'm not the best tactician. Thankfully, I was sitting next to Mike Harris on comms, so he was kind of explaining to me the best person I could have probably sat next to in this scenario. I think there was a bit of a trick in there, wasn't there? I don't think it was necessarily the usual kind of 4-3-3 in that first half. I think there was like some sort of twist to it. But just kind of, what was your thought when you saw that starting 11? How did you kind of picture it going?
Yeah, it was interesting. I think it is quite similar to what we've seen over recent games. However, Lizzie Bennett-Steele starting over Leonie, which I guess is the in and out swap that you'd have there on that wing. Yeah, that was interesting. Obviously Leo, as we've said, could have impacted the game and went on to impact the game. And potentially, that decision that she's been on the bench is one of the reasons why she's now no longer part of the club. But yeah, I thought Lizzie did well. Obviously, not played a massive amount of football so far this season, so it was always going to be a bit tough for her. She then went dropped back into right back a bit later on in the game when some of your more attacking players came off the bench, which I thought she did really, really well in, to be fair. Even still, when she was playing that deeper role, she was still bombing forward and doing what she does best, I feel, staying back and then bombing forward instead of, being straight on that wing. And then, your other attackers, Daisy on the other side and Rosie Axton through the middle, which, again, we've seen a lot of through the recent matches. Daisy, I thought, was really, really good. A couple of little dribbles and moves that she did were really getting the fans off their seats. She did really, really well, I thought. But then with Rosie as well, a bit of an unlucky night, really. Didn't really have the chances fall into her. Obviously, she comes quite deep to try and help build up those chances, which I'm not entirely sure always aids us going forward. But clearly that's the style that she feels is best for the team, and Aid feels is best for the team. So yeah, it was a tough night for our attackers. Obviously, got the one goal, but didn't really create a whole lot of other chances. So yeah, it was a tough night for the attack, I thought.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the defence side of things first. I think the first half. I love seeing the sliding tackles from Tilly and Erin. I thought that was
Yeah,
fantastic. I know Erin got booked, and I think Tilly was fortunate not to get booked herself
yeah, yeah.
at one point. Yeah, I was really surprised. I think Lammy took that free kick, and I think that was the one that was saved.
Mm.
But yeah, I think Erin and Tilly gave you exactly what you thought that there was going to give you. You knew that there was going to be strong and rushing and diving for these tackles, and they didn't let us down, and they didn't let the fans down. It was really great to see. Didn't see too much of Meg. I'd like to have saw her get forward a bit more, and I don't know if that was tactical because it looked like Lizzie has got a bit more tactical, like more the attack was trying to come down that one side. I thought up front, I thought Daisy did really well in the second half. I thought she had like about 25 minutes of what I was expecting to see for the whole match, if I'm honest. I think her and Leo in the second half created a lot of danger. This
Mm.
is this is what I was expecting to kind of see for the whole game. And I think if we did, you might have seen a bit more chances. Obviously, the reason why they set up the way that they did instead of that. But I think by the time those two came uh, into kind of they were flourishing, I think the kiddie players were obviously starting to tire a little bit, not massively. I think this whole fatigue thing that I thought of and many others thought of, I don't think it's shone too much. I think probably last 15 minutes maybe it was showing a little bit, but generally I think Kiddie were a lot fitter than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah,
I think they might have caught a few off guard. And I think midfield battle wise, I think Kiddie done really well that first half. I think Beth Gallagher was quite very strong on the ball. I think Lammy also was very strong on the ball. And I think I don't think there was any like outnumbering there, but I think Kiddie at the back just threw that extra defender in there. So Phil Levick was playing like a kind of sweeper role, which kind of cut out the speed of Daisy and some of the others. Um, so yeah, I think it was a very tactical battle for the first half. And then the second half, Stella was more like was expected Stella to be. Like through pre-season, Gwen Horgan with those balls, I thought was fantastic. No one can do a pass like her, and I think we saw a couple of those.
hmm,
So I think it was a great game. I think 1-1, if I'm honest, it was fair after 90 minutes.
yeah.
Do you kind of think that, like, kind of Kitty won the first half and Stella won the second half?
Yeah, definitely. I think yeah. When you look back on it, definitely, I think it's a fair result to have taken it to penalties, and then penalties is always a lottery, isn't it? Um, but yeah, like you mentioned, obviously both teams deserved a goal. They had a number of chances. Obviously, Lammy's free kick, like you mentioned, I thought that was going to nestle in the top corner inside. That was it, 5 minutes or so. Um, Good save by Farron in goal, who also did really well in Harriet's absence. Obviously, we've spoken millions and millions of words about Harriet and how brilliant that she's been this season. But to have a player like Farron Ashton that can come up and come into the side when necessary, I think is very important because
Yeah,
I thought she did really really well. Obviously, letting the goal, but there isn't a massive amount that she could have done about it given the space and the time Eloise had on that wing. Um, but yeah, I think having that secondary goalkeeper who is pushing Harriet as well, keeping her at the top of her game. Like I've always said, I think competition is key for a squad. You don't want players getting too comfortable in their positions and thinking they're always going to get picked for the starting 11. I like that battle that they've got. Who can keep who out the starting 11 really.
yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, let's look at that going forward, and then obviously we'll just discuss the day as a whole as well, because there's a few more things I want to get into. I do actually just want to shout out Eloise Harris from the kiddie side. Obviously, I've seen a few of the kiddie minister games this season. I thought Eloise down that left hand side. I don't know if Stourbridge was able to get much footage or knew much of her going into the game. There's threats all over the pitch for kiddie for different reasons. If you're a fan of me, whether it be on this channel, other channels, this year or 6 years ago, I always say that I love a left winger. I loved watching Ryan Giggs. I loved watching Leah Galton for Man United Women. When I first come watching Stourbridge, Carly Aldred was our left winger. They've all got the same kind of uh, attributes, and that's being able to run with the ball. To
Yeah.
go from A to B. And Eloise Harris for Kiddy Harriers, showing that she could do that, and it took some real strong tackles from Tilly and Erin to stop her from going past. And at any point, if they misjudge that tackle, they're either getting sent off or they're getting skipped past. So I do just want to shout Eloise Harris, who scored that first goal for Kiddy. But yeah, I just think looking at this now, going forward with the loss of Leonie Joyce, we have still got a number of strikers, and I want to read them out because until you actually look at it written down, you think to yourself, what are we going to do? We've lost Mil Rogers, we've lost Leonie Joyce. So these are the options now. Obviously, Rosie Axton, Daisy Clements, but you've also got Shauna McCann Lloyd, you've got Catherine Pagan, Lizzie Benestill, Liv Ashfield, Demi Phillips. I don't know if I've missed anybody else out there.
Yeah,
I think I might have done. Yeah, but there's still
Jess
a few.
Hood.
Jess Hood, sorry. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Jess Hood. I've got Jess Hood written there. I just couldn't read what flipping writing here. What's it here?
Oh, I
There
don't know. Typical
There
John
it is.
Foster.
I couldn't read my own writing. Yeah, there's still numbers there. And by the way, in hindsight, I would have loved to have seen Daisy, Leo, and Jess Hood. I mean, imagine everything running at the back line, But anyway, that's a different subject now. But yeah, so you've still got strength in depth, haven't you, in regards to numbers? What do you see going forward? Do we need to rush into the market and try and get somebody else to replace Leo, or are we okay?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, like you say, the numbers are there. Obviously, all the players that played last night, and Catherine Pagan to add into that as well is a big name to put into that mix. But yeah, I guess it's just about how we want to set up. If we want to continue with the same sort of system that we're going for, do you need a like for like replacement for Leo from somewhere else, or can someone like a Jess Hood or a Shauna McCann Lloyd fill that role, and then leaving, your Catherine Pagans and your Rosie Axtons for the actual striker role. It's a debate that you could have, whether those players can fill that role that we need, or even if it's a whole change of system. Obviously it's a big departure. It's your top goal scorer, clearly a key player in the attack. Does that mean now that we have to shake things up, go a little differently, switch formations or whatever that might be? It's an interesting thought, definitely.
Yeah, look, we are a tier 3 side, so we can still attract players, can't we? So if we need to get somebody in, I'm sure we can. I think what I've got now is 6 weeks until the next league game, unless if something just suddenly pops up. We have got a county cup game, which we'll cover shortly. But he's kind of got 6 weeks now, hasn't he, to look at it, reset, like you said, and then just look at his team, look at his current team, and because he has got players there, whether or not that they're what he wants. I guess we'll see, won't we, on the 5th of January when we go away to Hull. But he has got numbers there. We still haven't seen anything of Catherine Pagan yet. So, that was my choice in the starting 11, not the kiddie game, but just going forward. So maybe this opens up that avenue, doesn't it? Yeah. Just finishing on the FA Cup. There is a bit of a money loss there, I believe. The difference was from 8,000 to 17,000 for the winner of that game yesterday. So that's a big loss, isn't it, really? And I think that's a massive shame. Obviously, still more than we got last year, because at least we won Telford this year. But last year we played Wolves when we played Telford this year. So we're still up year on year in regards to prize money for the FA Cup. However, it is a massive shame, isn't it? Because that would have been something that everyone was kind of expecting to. I say expecting, that's probably a bit of a disrespect to Kidderminster, but when you're against a team that's 2 leagues below you, I think he was probably expected to get that extra 8 or 9 grand. What do you reckon to that? What do you reckon to that, mate?
Yeah, definitely. And then it's not just also about that game, the Blackburn game coming up, I'd imagine would attract a lot of people down.
Yeah.
Ticket money and drink money and whatever, as well as, you'd imagine we go on to lose that game against Blackburn anyway. But even the losers in those games get a healthy share of the prize pool. So yeah, it has larger implications, that loss, which is a shame when obviously the men's side at Stourbridge isn't a well-established, league side. But, we always need every little bit of money where we can get it, and the FA Cup is always a brilliant way of sourcing that. So yeah, it's a loss for the club as a whole, really. Obviously, the girls will be gutted that they've lost, for themselves, but also the club will also feel the impacts of that, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So just the day as a whole, the attendance, I don't know the official number, but Matt Guys, who's the head of women's and girls football for Kidderminster, tweeted out over 700. So I'll look forward to seeing the exact number. It was a great night for the neutral. It was a great night for us doing the media, who thrive on occasions and thrive on stories, things like that. And there's a lot of people in attendance. So I'll name drop a few that I saw. So obviously we saw some of our old players. So Esme Moran was there. Obviously Mike Harris was on commentary. So I saw Esme. I saw Favour Romanazzo, and she walked past me. I managed to, I hugged the hands because I was talking on the radio at the same time, so I couldn't get up and give her a hug. But great to see she made the journey from Northampton. But obviously she doesn't live round here. Shows how big the spectacle was. Managers in Tier 3, I won't name them just in case I don't want to be named, but there were 2 managers in Tier 3 that I saw. They come over and said hello. Who else did we see? Come on. Who did you see, Kieran?
Hannah Fishwick was there.
Yeah.
Man, there's too many. There's too many people to think of.
Obviously, the usual, I say usual. So, G Zaka was there.
Yes.
Obviously, former glass girl. Who did I just think of as well? There's another one. Oh, Ken Beresford, our former reserve team manager.
There's probably a million. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. It was just nice just to bump into a few faces, wasn't there?
Exactly, yeah.
But a lot of them were there, supporting Kiddy, because they were related to Kiddy now. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, they've left Stourbridge, but you forget, they've left Stourbridge, but they've just moved to Kiddy, so they would be there. But there was allowed. Get in the comments if you were there. Great to see. So obviously, I think we've done really well as women's community to promote that event. It is now over. So let's put that one to bed. I think we kind of need to, as Stourbridge fans, we need to put that one to bed now. But we have got a county cup to look forward to. So both me and you was at the was it me and you that was at the game? Yeah, it was at the Birmingham County Cup versus Leafield 2 Sundays ago. Interesting. So I think they got the numbers on the back of the shirts, Birmingham Academy, or under 21s, or whatever you want to call them. I think the first 35, 1 to 35, are senior team players who would play in the championship, and then 35 onwards would be classed as academy players. So there was a lot of number 40s that we was watching. There's a lot of numbers in the 40s, and that was a good game between them and Leafield. It was 1-1. Was it 1-1 before we went to penalties?
Yes,
I think,
yeah.
Bishwick scored, didn't she? Former Glassgirls there. She scored for Leafield. Birmingham Academy equalised, and it went to penalties.
And should have won at the end, but they missed that 1-on-1.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Our former physio is at Birmingham Academy, Adam O'Grady. Former Glassgirl, one of our leading goal scorers, one of our best ever goal scorers, if you look at numbers wise. Cheryl Edmonds is one of their coaches there. So, Birmingham Academy, what are your thoughts going into that game? Is it winnable?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, they took Leafield the whole way. And we know what Leafield have done this season. They've been an excellent side. They're up at the top of Tier 4 for a reason. So yeah, I think it is winnable. It's going to be tough. Obviously, we know what these academy sides are like. They like their technical football. Tiki taka, little tapping it around everywhere. But it's a test. Obviously, these girls haven't experienced a whole lot of proper women's football where it's more physical, and you get slide tackle by Tilly Phantom 5 minutes into it, and all the things like that. It's hard to predict because we don't know a lot about these academy sides, but we know the style of them, and we've seen them in action before. I think it is winnable. hopefully get us through to the next round in that, and yeah, we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one for myself, I definitely think it's winnable. The way you just described that reminds me a little bit of Stourbridge. I think we've brought in a lot of academy kind of players. I think they're used to playing that way. They're not used
Yeah,
to being pushed off the ball. That like we saw at the kiddie game, and through tier three, it's a completely different ball game where you're like up against a different style of player who hasn't come through the academy. Academy is very technical based. We saw that with Hannah Fishwick last season, and the last few seasons. We know the technical ability. It is a completely different ball game. So maybe this can play in our kind of favour if
yeah,
the academy players that we're playing against are more technical based as opposed to physical based. Maybe that will suit us. I never kind of give it that kind of thought. So let's look forward to maybe a different type of challenge. And it's going to be at the War Memorial Ground, so they're not going to be playing on a fantastic pitch in regards to, it's not like what do you call it, artificial. So it's going to
yeah.
be an interesting. That could be a leveler, couldn't it, in this? So it's definitely winnable. I messaged a lot of people when this fixture got announced, saying we can do this. We really can do this, and I thoroughly believe that. So they need to gain a bit of confidence after the loss against Kiddy and just go again. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Final,
definitely.
final thoughts, Kieran?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with what you said. I think the physicality mixed with that existing technical ability that we have is going to pair up quite nicely in that game. Yeah, I think players like Thea really surprised me last night. She did really well. I thought in that midfield, almost matched the kiddie sort of physicalness that they had. And did really well. I know she was a bit of an injury concern, so she didn't play the full 90. But yeah, she did really well. And I think players like her, like your Tilly Phantoms, like your Demi Walkers, will do really well in a game like that where it's physical, where physicality is needed, because these technical sides can. We know the qualities that they'll have. We've got players in our own side that maybe lack the physical aspect of their game, but their technical aspect is unbelievable. So yeah, we know both sides of the story for that one. So hopefully, like I say, they can combine well and hopefully see us into the next round.
100%, mate. Yeah. Great summary. 100%. Yeah. As for the rest of the calendar year, so it's obviously we are fast approaching December. I believe we've only got one more game scheduled. That's December the 15th,
Yeah.
County Cup. We'll still be doing content here over next month. And also, this is our 99th video on the channel. So we've been going for quite a while. Number 99. So I wonder what our 100th one will be. I've got an idea. But yeah, we will be doing some content over Christmas, and I think it's been great that a number of fellow Stourbridge fans have helped us over Christmas in previous years to create content, and I'd love for that to continue this Christmas. So I might send a few messages out even there. But yes, fantastic, and I can't wait to see what December brings, and going into that whole game in January. So it's one that I've had my eyes on for quite a while. So we will still be looking at the league table because other teams are playing. Calcer and Halifax are playing on December the 8th, I think. So we'll have our eyes on that one definitely. But for now, I'm going to wrap it up. I've thoroughly exhausted with social media this week, which is it's one of those. But I love it, So happy days. Thank you very much, Kieran, and we shall see you soon.
Bye.